Hi everyone, Jessica here from Paper Ink Stamp and welcome back to my channel. So this is Christmas project video number 3 using this 12x12 paper pad called It's the Most Wonderful Time of the Year. So we've already created a whole bunch of cards. We created a folio to hold those cards in and now we're going to create a Christmas cracker. It's going to be super easy. I don't have anything to go in these. I don't have like those snap pieces either, which you can purchase to turn these into real crackers. I might just use this as like little decorative pieces to go just here in my craft room, and we're going to be able to get 2 crackers from one piece of 12x12 card. So the paper I've picked is this red Christmas tree one. We're going to add a little topper on top of this. And I do have just some ribbon here as well, just to tie up our ends. But the first thing we need to do is actually make our cracker itself. So I'm going to pull out my trimmer. So like I said, we're going to be keeping the width of this. So we're going to do a 12-inch long cracker. You can of course make these smaller, but I want to use as much of this as possible. And my pattern is directional, so you can decide, maybe it depends how you display your crackers, if you're going to put them as functional ones on your Christmas table. So it could depend on what the sort of placement is, whether you want your pattern, if you're going to have your cracker straight up, then you might want to have your pattern this way. If you're going to have them across your plate, then you might want to have the pattern this way. What I think I'm going to do is have my pattern run top to bottom. So I'm going to trim this down first of all. Like I said, we're keeping that 12-inch length. And the first cut that we are going to do is going to be at 5.5 inches. Like so, and I'm just going to cut that again. So we're just going to have a really small amount left over, which you could then use for another project if you want to, or you can bin it. You don't have to keep your scraps. So that's all the cutting that we're going to do. Next up, we're going to do a little bit of scoring. So this was 5.5 inches. We want to have a 1/2 inch, which is going to be our tab to close our cracker, and then basically we're going to have 5 1-inch sections. So I've already done one score line on here, but what I'm going to do first of all is just take this and measure up with 5 inches, and I'm going to score that, and that is going to be my 1/2 inch, which is going to be my closure tab. And then we're going to come down here and score at 4 inch. Then we're going to score at 3 inch. 2 inch, and then I already have my 1 inch there. So this is what we're looking at. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 1-inch sections, and then 1 1/2 inch section. Okay, so the next score marks we're going to make is really going to depend on how big you want your centerpiece to be. So depending on what you put in here will really determine how big you need that middle space to be. So for me, because again, these are just decorative, I'm not going to be putting anything in here. I'm going to go for around about 6 inches. You can be a little more precise with yours. Again, it really will depend on what you're putting in here. So the first of my 2 score marks we're going to do is going to be at 2 inches. Then 2.5 inches. Just move my trim it over a little bit. Then 2.5 inches. Then 3 inches. I'm going to do the same again on the other side. So after all the scoring, I've just gone ahead and folded and burnished all of my score marks, as you can see here. And now what we need to do is to cut away some of the card between this 1 inch gap we've got here. So then when you pull the cracker, it's weak enough for you to be able to actually pull it apart. So we need to take out some of this bulk here. And a really easy way of doing that, you can just go in and cut some of it out. So I would just say you would go in like so, just fold it in half at your 2.5 inch mark there. Literally just fold it up, and then you can just trim triangles from that. But another way you can do it, if you have a punch board. So what we're going to do is use our punch just in here that we use to make the envelopes, and it's going to take out this middle bit for us. So what we want to do is fold over our first 1/2 inch section. We're going to fold it over, put it in. We're going to line it up with 2.5 inches, because then that will line it up with our center score mark. we're just going to punch it, and it's going to just take out this little notch here, and that is just going to weaken it enough to be able to pull apart when you pull the ends of them. So you can see I've just done the end there. So now I'm going to go down to the next score mark. I'm going to fold that one over. Again, line it up with the 2.5 inch. And there we have it there. So again, you can just go in and cut these yourself, but this is actually a really nice, easy way of doing it, making sure then that you're not cutting too much away where it's just going to come apart even before someone's had a chance to do it themselves. So we're going to do that. We're going to keep going even at our 1/2 inch tab there. We're going to do it. And there we have it there. So you can see just how much kind of weakened that is. Now, when we put it together, it's going to hold really nicely until you are ready to pull it. So I'm going to go ahead and do the other end again. Exactly the same, just folding over the sections and punching them all out. So there we have that all finished, and it's really quick and simple to do. This takes no time at all to make these crackers. So we've got all of our pieces punched out there. So the next thing to do is to assemble our crackers, and that again is super easy to do. So we've got our 1/2 inch tab just here, and that's then just gonna close up like so. So you could use some red liner tape if you want to for this. Again, because mine are decorative, I'm just going to use some liquid glue here. So that's our first one, and then if we just push all of those pieces in, we'll be able to have our ends come in. So I've got a 5-sided because I wanted to get 2 out of this 12 by 12 sheet. Obviously I've got 5 sides here, but if you did it with 6 inch pieces, so if you had 6 inches and then that 1/2 inch for your closure, then you can get this nice and symmetrical if that's what you want. But I absolutely love how that is looking. Let's pop this one together as well. Okay, so we've got that one together as well. So again, you just want to push in these pieces here, so then you can bring it down like a regular cracker. So we go that nice little springy bit, and then when you pull that, these pieces in here are weak enough for you to be able to pull your whole cracker apart. So now the only thing really left to do is let's get some ribbon on here. Okay, so I cut my ribbon. So these are about 10 inches or so. So I'm going to have my seam near the back. And then I'm just gonna tie these pieces up. Something like that. I'm literally just gonna tie it in a bow, and then I'm just gonna curl those just to make them look a little bit nicer. So there we have that little bow there. So I'm going to go ahead and tie the ends on the other 3 ends. So there they are with their ends tied, and again you can make it look a lot more you know, decorative and festive. I have got just 2 toppers from the paper pad. Again, if you do an even amount of sides, then your top one will be nice and flat. So let's pop that one on there. And sometimes all they need is just that little bit of decoration, just like we've got here. They don't necessarily need kind of too much more than that. So we've got this one here. I really like this one. Shaking Me will reveal nothing. I think that is really great for a cracker because you could be tempted. So there we have our 2 handmade Christmas crackers ready to decorate any table. So both of these came from a piece of 12 by 12, but if you do want to have an even amount of sides so that your top side is completely flat so you can decorate it nicely, then you need to cut your width is going to be 6.5 inches. You're still going to have that 1/2 inch tab to close it, but then you're going to have 6 1-inch sides on your crackers. But again, I wanted to get the most out of that piece of 12 by 12 that I could, so I'm quite happy with the size that I've done this. Even though that top bit is on an angle, I'm absolutely okay with that. But yeah, really quick and simple to make these crackers. Really, you know, you don't actually need any sort sort of specialist stuff. Obviously I brought in my punch board, but you absolutely don't need to do the punch board. Instead of using that, then you can literally just go in and just cut out some triangles from it. All you need is just for this section in here to be nice and weak, so that when you pull it, it is actually going to pull apart. But if you have got a punch board or anything similar that you think you've got that'll work, give it a go. Anything just to make life a little bit easier. But yeah, that is our project number 3 using our Christmas paper pad for this Christmas season. So join me next week for project number 4, and you can go back and watch the previous 2 projects that we have done as well. So if you want to make sure that you don't miss out on those future videos, then hit that subscribe button. It's completely free to do. Give this video a thumbs up because it does help to really support my channel. And yeah, I'll see you in the next video for Christmas project number 4.